You know that thing children do where one kid walks in and says, "My shoulder hurts," and suddenly the other kid is on the floor going, "Both of my shoulders hurt. It's actually extremely serious." I may never recover? That is apparently how frontier AI labs communicate now. OpenAI has a hacking incident, and Anthropic comes sprinting into the room like, "We also got hacked." And actually, Oz did it 3 times. 3! Because why have one accidental real-world cyber incident when you can have a trilogy? And I am obsessed with this story. I'm sorry. Anthropic reviewed more than 141,000 cybersecurity evaluation runs and found 3 incidents where Claude reached real systems belonging to 3 different organizations. Not the fake systems, not the practice systems, real production infrastructure. So today we're going through all 3 incidents, the absolutely incredible mistake that connected them, and why Anthropic's own story may accidentally make a very good argument for open-weight AI. First, what was Claude supposed to be doing? It was playing capture the flag. In cybersecurity, that means you put someone in a controlled environment, hide a secret, the flag on another machine, and tell them to break in and retrieve it. It is basically an escape room for hackers, except instead of finding a tiny brass key under a lamp, you're looking for credentials and vulnerable servers. Claude was given an open-ended objective: find the flag. No specific method. Go explore, be creative, break things inside the pretend environment. And Anthropic's prompt explicitly told Claude, this is a simulation and you do not have internet access. Except, and please prepare yourselves emotionally, Claude did have internet access. Due to what Anthropic calls a misunderstanding with its evaluation partner, the environment had a live path to the open internet. So they gave an autonomous AI a hacking mission, told it everything it could reach was fake, accidentally gave it access to real systems, and then everyone was surprised when it treated the real systems like part of the game. This is not a jailbreak. This is a Jedi mind trick used in place of a network cable check. You have no internet access. Claude, okay, but I can reach the internet. No, you can't. Claude, amazing. The simulation is so realistic. Incident number 1 is the most serious. The fictional company in the exercise shared a name with a real website. Claude Opus 4.7 had trouble reaching the fake target, discovered the real company online, and apparently thought, oh, there it is. Across 4 runs, it identified vulnerabilities, extracted application and infrastructure credentials, and reached a database containing several hundred rows of real production data. Several hundred rows? The model did eventually notice signs that the company was real. In 2 runs, it basically rationalized that the real company must still be part of the exercise. And it kept going. Now, Anthropic correctly says this was the most serious impact, but the part jumping out at me is that this was Opus 4.7, an older model. We talk about unreleased frontier systems as if they are magical cyber dragons breathing 0 days. Meanwhile, a slightly older model with the right tools and enough time walked into a real company using ordinary vulnerabilities. That matters. You may not need the most advanced model on Earth to do serious security work. You may just need a capable model, a useful harness, and permission to keep trying. Incident 2 is my favorite because every sentence somehow gets worse. Inside the fictional environment, Claude Mythos 5 found developer instructions telling employees to install a Python package from PyPI. PyPI is basically a public warehouse for Python software. The package named in the instructions did not exist. Claude spotted the opening. Create a malicious package with that exact name, upload it, and wait for the target system to install it. This type of move is sometimes called slop squatting. An AI invents a package name, somebody registers the imaginary name for real, and the next person who trusts it downloads a surprise box full of regret. Claude went looking for an email account, tried to solve the phone number problem, found a free provider, registered a real PyPI account, built the malicious package, and published it to the actual internet. The package was live for roughly 1 hour. During that hour, it was downloaded and run on 15 real systems. One of those belonged to a security company. A security company had a scanner that routinely installed packages to check them for malware. But the scanner apparently treated PI packages as safe during installation. So it installed the malicious package, the hidden code executed, Claude collected the company's credentials, and then used those credentials to access more of its infrastructure. No, stop. You are a security scanner. The dangerous package is the thing you are supposed to be scanning. That is like testing whether a sandwich is poisoned by eating the entire sandwich and waiting to see what happens. Claude did not even know this company existed when it uploaded the package. The scanner walked into the trap by itself. And that is why simple attacks are so effective. Not every hack is a shadowy genius in a basement typing at 900 words per minute. Sometimes somebody just installs the mystery package. Incident 3 is where the classics return. An internal research model could not find its fictional target, so it scanned roughly 9,000 targets online. Eventually, it compromised a real company's internet-facing application using an exposed debug page and SQL/QL injection. In 2026, I'm sorry, are we preserving vintage vulnerabilities now? Is this artisanal, small batch, handcrafted SQL injection? An exposed debug page can leak credentials or internal information, which is bad but understandable. People make mistakes, but SQL injection is the ancient classic. An application handles database input so badly that an attacker can slip commands into it. The interesting difference is that this newer internal model eventually recognized the compromised system had nothing to do with the exercise, concluded it was real, and stopped on its own. And Anthropic is understandably excited about that. Their newest model said, wait, this is real, and stopped. Wonderful, genuinely better behavior. It did scan about 9,000 targets before reaching enlightenment, but growth is a journey. So what did we learn? Anthropic's first big lesson is that evaluations involving powerful autonomous capabilities need significant controls and defense in depth. They mentioned validating internet access paths before the evaluation, real-time monitoring, and better review of transcripts and network logs. And I have to ask, are those significant controls, or are those the first things written on the whiteboard? Again, I am not a security expert. I am proudly standing in the beginner lane. But if the promise is this machine cannot access the internet, perhaps step 1 is checking whether the machine can access the internet. Run a test, watch the network logs, set an alert. If your unguarded hacking model suddenly starts speaking to real servers, maybe flash a red light and stop the experiment. Anthropic itself says some solutions may be simple. Exactly! This does not read like an unstoppable alien intelligence escaping this cage. It reads like a powerful tool doing exactly what it was asked to do inside a cage with the door open. And that brings me to open weights. Open weight models are models people can download, adapt, and run on their own infrastructure. Microsoft's open weight statement argues that this gives startups, universities, businesses, and public institutions access without forcing them to build a model from scratch or pay frontier prices for every task. It also argues that defenders need capabilities comparable to attackers. That is the point I cannot stop thinking about. Small companies cannot all afford giant security teams, huge compute clusters, and some velvet rope frontier lab program where they politely apply for permission to test their own website. But if capable open weight models were affordable and available, defenders could run continuous tests against their own systems, find the embarrassing debug page, catch the weak endpoint, and close the SQL injection before somebody else does. Anthropic says it does not support a blanket ban on open weight models. It calls open models without dangerous capabilities a public good. But it is much more cautious once models become powerful. Because open weights are difficult to monitor, Their safeguards can be removed, and the model cannot be recalled after release. Anthropic wants sufficiently capable open and closed models to undergo mandatory safety testing. Fine, those risks are real. But Anthropic also disputes the idea that broader access necessarily helps defenders more than attackers. And then, 3 days later, Anthropic publishes a story where its own models break into organizations using basic security failures those organizations had not detected. Do you see why I am laughing? The argument for capable defensive access is sitting inside the incident report, wearing a name tag. These models did not develop an evil master plan. Anthropic says they were pursuing the capture the flag goal they had been assigned while holding the false belief that the environment was simulated. This was closer to a harness and operational failure than a model deciding to escape. But it still proves the capability is here. An older model reached production data. Another built and published a malicious package. A newer model used embarrassingly basic vulnerabilities across real infrastructure and then eventually stopped. So yes, stronger containment, yes, better monitoring, yes, test the models, but also give defenders tools strong enough to fight back, because the attackers are not going to wait patiently for access to the approved enterprise safety program. OpenAI had an incident. Anthropic checked its homework and cried. We also got hacked 3 times. Honestly, overachievers.